Okay, it's 1 p.m. Eastern time, and see we have a number of you have joined. We're gonna go ahead and start this webinar. So hello everyone, my name is Scott Wasatsky. I'm the product marketing manager at Jones, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into Procore Side Panel apps. We're going to be going over everything you need to know about how Procore's new side panel apps are helping construction teams manage project and subcontractor risk. So today is June 4th. My name is Scott Wasatsky. I'm the product marketing manager here at Jones. We are software that helps verify, review, and manage subcontractor certificates of insurance, and we plug into Procore. I'm going to hand it off to Jeremy and Will. I was just chatting because I see Chad is in the comments section. Just so everyone knows, there's a Q&A section and a chat section on Zoom. Just let's use the chat section for this so that all of our conversations are in one place. So I'll hand it off to Jeremy and Will to introduce themselves. Jeremy?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So Jeremy Chasen here, Senior Manager of Business Development for Strategic Partnerships at Procore. And what that really means is I own a portfolio of partnerships like these two wonderful partnerships right here with Jones and Document Crunch, where I work with our product team and our go-to-market team and our partners to develop the strategy for these partnerships and help them get into the hands of all the great mutual customers we've got, hopefully some on the call today. I'll hand it over to Will.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jeremy and Scott, for having me. I'm really excited to be here because we've been working with Procore for a while now to get this. We just launched our side panel app in April, and we're super excited about what it can mean for everybody. So happy to show everybody what we have. I am the head of the product team at Document Crunch. I am Will Moyer, and we've been working together with Procore for a while now, and so excited to be kind of partnered up with each of these groups, and definitely appreciate, Scott, you having us on the call. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to now go over what we're going to be covering today. So first, we're going to be understanding Procore's new side panel apps and why you'd want to use them on your account. Next, we're going to go over the Jones side panel app for managing subcontractor COIs. Then we're going to be going over Document Crunch's side panel app for contract management and insights. Then we're going to be going over pricing. So how much, kind of to get a feel of how much side panel apps like this will cost. And then we're going to be going over the Q&A. We're going to be asking a number of questions. We're going to try to make this engaging. But if you can, just try to save all your questions for the end so that we can have a conversation around them at the end of this webinar. So I'll hand it over to Jeremy, who will be giving a little bit of an overview about the overview of Procore's new side panel apps.
Thanks, Scott. So I'm excited to give a little bit of an intro here on the side panel apps and why they're exciting. I'm going to talk a little bit about what it is and why we built it at Procore. And then I'll hand it off to Will and Scott to really dive deeper into the details of how Document Crunch and Jones have built really great experiences with these side panel apps that are helping project teams manage risk and compliance. Okay, so what is the side panel? Basically, it is a platform capability, so available across Procore in different areas, that we launched at Groundbreak last year, which is our user conference that hopefully a lot of you either went to or will be going to this year. And this enables new ways for Procore users to engage with our partner integrations within Procore. Users can access these third-party applications within a context-aware side panel right next to an existing Procore tool. So this is kind of shown on the screen, but we'll get a little further into the details as we go along. These side panel integrations provide customers with an enhanced experience that is different and more rich and detailed than our other integration capabilities that are either just data going back and forth between two apps or a fully embedded application that takes up the whole screen. What this really allows you to do is the integration has access to the context of what the user is doing within Procore and operates accordingly. So I know there's a lot of buzzwords and a lot of tech speak that I just used there. So what does this really mean? Again, it'll become a lot clearer as Will and Scott present their apps. But basically, it knows who you are, what project you're in, what tool you're in within that project, what actions you're taking, and can dynamically present you with the right workflows and data in the side panel that are associated with all of that information within Procore. Again, all within the same screen. So this means, yay, no more switching between screens, right? No more app fatigue. Customers can really interact with both of these tools where they need them, when they need them, all in the same place to streamline these workflows and increase efficiency and really improve collaboration for better project outcomes, excuse me. So let's take a deeper look. Next slide, please, Scott. Thank you. All right, so here you can see that in the side panel, you'll notice a dock here that appears on the right hand of the Procore screen when a side panel is available. Where this arrow is pointing to, that's the integration category. So if we go to the next slide, we'll see what it looks like when it actually pops out. So this is an example of an integration on our invoice management product. When users open that dock, the embedded app appears right there, and you can see on this screen an example of a lien waiver request workflow in the side panel that automatically recognizes the project, the specific invoice, and the associated contract with that workflow to then move that request on. So if we go to the next slide, so now we've covered a bit of what is this thing we're talking about, right? So why did we build it? Well, the partner ecosystem is really at the core of the Procore platform. So much so that it's at the heart of what we call our marketecture, which is this pretty graphic on the screen, but this is basically how we present Procore to the market and how we really talk about the platform and the value. And you can see that gray bar in the middle there is the partner ecosystem. Now, we recognize that Procore, for us to be the most valuable to our users and to the industry at large, it's important for us to enable our partner ecosystem to build deeply integrated experiences with high value data and workflows moving in and out of Procore. And this really accelerates our mission to connect everyone in construction on a global platform. So if we go to the next slide, there's going to be that like, boom, right in your face. Why do we build this? At the end of the day, it's about increasing customer value. This enables our partners like Jones and Document Crunch to work with Procore to increase customer value and solve real challenges that our users are facing in construction daily, while hopefully providing them a delightful experience that helps their day. So we believe this is truly a differentiator for all of us. And if we go to the next slide, we're going to dive really into why you'd want to use these things. If it isn't clear already about why you should be excited about this, let's drive it home. If your project teams are working within Procore as their daily construction management platform, chances are they'd rather see all their workflows and experiences and data within the same screen rather than toggle all over the place trying to go email someone over here, look in this application to get the data they need over here, and then pull it together on the other screen, et cetera, et cetera. So I just spoke a lot, so I'm going to hand it off now to Will and Scott after Will, and they'll take us further into the details of their apps to drive this home.
Yeah, another great reason that we've certainly one of the reasons that we've really pursued this, among others, is that teams really don't have to learn every detail of every product that exists in your ecosystem, in your company. And ideally, if their focus is going to be Procore, which for a lot of people working in Procore, their focus is Procore and their daily work is in that product. So learning that product really well is a big step, and making those tools work for you is a lot of effort in itself. But then bringing everything together so that you don't have to know every other product really well not only saves you time, but it just means that your team doesn't have to work at every new piece of information you're bringing to them to bear for the benefit of their project. They just need to know where it is in the space that they're already in the tools in Procore. So it just means that you don't have a lot of overhead when you're introducing products like Document Crunch to help your team with contracts, and Jones as well. And you have that ecosystem that you learn once, and then everything can come to you in the same place. Scott, 3.
Thank you. The third reason is if you want to empower your teams working out of Procore to be less reliant on like the risk, the legal team, and other departments. We've seen from a lot of users we've spoken with that there's a lot of basic insurance and contract questions, and then the project team and other teams, they have no one else to rely on besides the risk and legal team. They don't know how to access it, and they just have to keep on asking the same people for repetitive tasks. The risk and legal team and other departments could be focusing on bigger, more strategic initiatives in the company if the project teams had easier access to all the repetitive work. Like, for example, we hear that project teams sometimes need to bog down the risk team about why is a subcontractor not compliant? Like, I see it's not compliant, but why? Is it a big issue? Is it a small issue? Or is the subcontractor even compliant? And through the Procore Side Panel app, right, you're empowering other teams that they don't have to rely on the risk and legal teams in these instances. Will actually has a great example at Document Crunch from one of the customer testimonials that they did. I'll let Will talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, this is one of the big common points that we hear when asking people, for testimonials about our side panel app and how they envision it helping them or already starting to help them. And one of our customers who is an in-house counsel said that for him, project teams can really now get the information that they need about contracts right inside where they're already working. So it does help them answer some of the questions that they would have for the back office or legal. And it's great because that means that they don't have to go back and forth with the other side, like Scott was saying. And it also means that they might be able to stay in their workflow as much as possible while freeing up those other teams, the back office and legal side, to really dive into the big items that need to be escalated. So where you do need that focus, you can give it. But otherwise, back office and legal can really let that side panel bring the right information at just the right time.
Thank you, Will. Thank you.
Yeah.
So now we're going to be going over, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into Document Crunch and Jones. But before we do that, just want to ask some questions. Like there's a lot of side panel apps out there, but specifically in terms of project and risk management, what Procore apps or processes, maybe even outside of Procore, is your team using to manage subcontractor insurance documents and contract compliance? You could write over in the webinar chat, right over there, not the Q&A button, the webinar chat. If you could just put it in there, we'll wait a couple seconds until some of the chats start coming in. But what Procore apps or processes outside of Procore are you using to manage subcontractor insurance documents and contract compliance, making sure that contracts are compliant? I see Mindy Vasquez wrote Billy. Sam, my COIO. Oh, you're already using Document Crunch. See Amy Kelly already using Jones. So it's great. We have some current customers on this webinar, and we have current customers of Document Crunch and Jones, and maybe we have people on this webinar that are just checking out what solutions are out there. My COI. Christina, when you say me, does that mean that you're doing this all manually? You're reviewing the contracts? And yes. Okay. And that kind of goes to the second question I wanted to ask before we move on. Which teams at your company, everyone's company, which teams are responsible for reviewing subcontractor insurance documents for compliance? And which teams are responsible for contract compliance in your company? So even if you use a software, is this falling under the contract management team? Is this falling under the risk management team? If you could just drop a line in the comments section. So Lori Moser said risk management for both. It's interesting. The project management, that's interesting. Insurance team for COIs, that makes sense. Wait a few more seconds if anyone wants to drop a line. Which teams at your company are responsible for subcontractor insurance management and contract compliance? Sam said subcontract risk management PMs. business admin team for the subcontracts. Rod Reedy said operations, PM. All right, cool. Well, I'll go to the next slide. We're going to start with Jones, then we're going to go into Document Crunch. So just a high-level overview about Jones is that we help with the collection, the review, and the management of subcontractor insurance documents on a very high level, right? We make sure that the subcontractors have the right COIs and the right insurance documents to work across your projects. So I'm going to quickly dive into how Jones does this and then how your teams can now access and engage with the subcontractor insurance information in Procore through our side panel app. So little animation on the screen that shows that we make it very easy for teams to request insurance documents from subcontractors in Procore, and then we quickly identify if the insurance documents are compliant or not. Our software uses OCR technology to extract the key elements from these documents. We do it, and then we have real COI review experts. These are real people on our team in our company that are manually reviewing the documents twice. So we're double verifying that the documents are compliant or they're not compliant. And how do we know what requirements? Like, every company has different limits and whatnot. The construction companies and GCs, when they're getting set up with Jones, they set the requirements. They set what they want, what they're looking for. And we strive to audit and review all documents in under 24 hours or less. Over the past few years, we've actually averaged an audit time of about 6 to 8 hours. I want to pull up Jones, the Jones app in Procore. I just want to show you a little bit before we dive into the side panel, what the side panel is and whatnot. I want to show you what we've had for the past few years. And if you're a Jones customer on this call, this is going to be familiar to you. I see Christina saying, is Jones under a different name? I'm not seeing it in the Procore app marketplace. No, you should be able to type in Jones right there. Christina, I could reach out to you after. Or I can actually send you a link after, Christina. If you RSVP with your email, I could email you a link to Jones in the Procore app marketplace. But yeah, so basically, before I go into the side panel app, I want to talk about the Jones embedded app here, because it's just context, right? And we have both. Thank you, Jeremy. Thanks for posting that. So up here, we have all the subcontractors with global insurance requirements, right? These means that these subcontractors like Lewis Tiles, LLC, et cetera, they have requirements that are just for this project. And then we have global insurance requirements down here. All of these subcontractors have requirements that are valid for all projects across your account. We actually, to go to the next slide, we actually are going to be having a webinar about this on July 10th. I'm going to just take this and I'm going to comment under here if anyone wants. It's basically about the difference. What's the difference between global and project level insurance requirements, which is right for your company. Then we make it very easy to send a COI request. So literally someone could just come in right over here and they can just select the insurance requirements and they can select which company they want to send out an email to request insurance documents. I'm not going to go through that right now because this isn't a full demo. I'm just doing a very high level demo. I'll have my email at the end if you want to see a full demo of how to do that. And then we have a really great capability called commitment triggered COI requests, which is basically the ability to, under the financial management over here, whenever a new commitment is created, it populates over here, and then you could just one by one add those new commitments to your project. So you'll never miss requesting insurance documents from a company working on your project. And then before I get to the walkthrough of the side panel app, I just want to talk a little bit more about why we created the side panel app, right? Because we want risk management to be proactive, not reactive, when you're working within Procore. So right now, project teams, it could be reactive or it could be proactive. Reactive is basically waiting until a subcontractor submits a payment application and then dealing with their insurance documents. This leads to potentially non-compliant subcontractors working on your project, and that is obviously a risk. And then proactive risk management is starting the COI collection process as early as possible. And this is what you're going to want to do. So obviously the side panel makes it much more proactive. You can see right over here on the side of your screen, it's everything that you need. And you're starting the insurance collection process and the insurance verification as early as possible. So I'm going to pull up in Procore. We can go to the project directory over here. Sorry, internet's going a little slow. And you can see all the information you need on the screen right over here. But what's really interesting for teams, especially the project teams that we've spoken to, is within the commitment section. You click onto a commitment. And you can see all of the information that you need right over here on the side of your screen. The commitment screen is where people are really spending a lot of their time, and they're in commitments. Their project teams especially are doing a lot of their work here. And everything you need is over here. So this indicates that it's a project level insurance requirement. You have the email over here. This is the email of the subcontractor. You can click over here and you can actually see the insurance documents if you want to take a look at it for anything, or you could upload new insurance documents. You just click the upload new. You can download them as a PDF or whatnot, or a PNG, and upload them right there. This is the set of requirements. So if we click on this, we can see what the requirements are that the subcontractor is being audited against. We can download a report. We can download this report right here. And then we see that the status is not compliant. The reason why it's not compliant is because we can see over here these two red policies, right? The general liability is missing. Workers' compensation is missing. We can see that the green ones are okay. I wanted to actually show you, we have a really great help center. We actually recently made this a couple of months ago. It's a Jones Procore Help Center. Thank you, Chad. I'll drop a line to it right over here. And you can basically see on the bottom, right, what does it mean? Overview of a subcontractor's compliance status in Procore. This is what it means if it's not compliant. We realize sometimes these compliance statuses might be a little bit confusing, even though we try to make them as simple as possible. And you can see right over here what you need to do when the status reads non-compliant. And sorry, one moment. Christina, are you able to waive requirements on an individual basis? Funny you get to that, because that's actually what I'm literally about to go into right now. I just want to cover three more things over here. The external record ID is basically like a technical link between Procore and Jones. The vendor status just shows that the vendor is ongoing, that they're still working on the project. And the expiration date is the earliest expiration date of the policies. Sometimes we know different policies have different expiration date. The expiration date is the earliest one. And then going to what Danielle, is any of this information available on the Procore mobile apps? That is a question. Let's save that for the Q&A because I'm not exactly sure about the mobile app, the apps. Maybe that's a question for Jeremy, but let's save that to for the Q&A at the end, Danielle, and we could talk about mobile app versus desktop. So going over here, one of the best things about our Procore Side Panel apps is that you can easily, from within Procore, navigate to Jones. So you just click that button right there. There, it's going a little bit slower today. And you can do a lot of different actions from here. Previously, right, you had, without the side panel, you would see, oh, West Roofing, there's an issue. You'd have to then go to Jones, log in, go find it, etc. Now boom, we could just click. I'm not going to click for the purpose of this webinar, I'm not going to click this button, but you could just send the insurance coverage gaps to West Roofing. They would get an email looking something like this. It says, hello vendor, we're reaching out, yada, yada. This is the first gap. This is the second gap. It's a very easy way to upload for West Roofing to upload their insurance documents. And then what Christina Skirvkin was asking, are you able to waive requirements on an individual basis? Yes, you are. Now, Christina and everyone else on the call, you can set it up so that certain, like there can be different permissions. So if you want, certain teams will have this capability and certain teams won't have this capability, etc. But yeah, you can go in and let's say, general liability override. So we have two different types of overrides. You can accept it as compliant, meaning that these gaps pose no significant risks and that the requirement was already satisfied. Or you could waive it for a business decision or executive approval. You can even write in an optional note about why it's being waived. We actually have a great, let me pull it up. We have a great webinar. Where was it? To waive or not to waive, a crash course on insurance policy gaps and what they mean. I'm going to put the link over there so you can see our webinars. I'd highly recommend watching this if you, going back to Christina's question about, waiving, what to waive. It definitely doesn't tell you what to waive. That's an executive decision that your company would need to make. And if you don't have the power, like if you're a project manager and don't have the authority or don't have the power to waive or override an insurance requirement, you can go into team notes. And this is really, really helpful within our software that you can easily get to from Procore. See, you can just tag a team member. You can write someone's name and you could ask them a question. Hey, can I waive this? Hey, can we override this, this gap in insurance coverage? And then I also want to just quickly go over the vendor history, right? This is really great for project teams. Sometimes if they want to see the full history of what's going on, they can just click on this vendor history and see, all right, well, this person, this vendor, the past couple of years, they've gotten compliant really quickly, or maybe the only reason they fall out of compliance is because of expirations. And they always, their history shows that they're really, really good with uploading new COIs when they expire. So yeah, we can let them on the project, right? They can look at the vendor history and make those decisions. So, so yeah, that's Jones in a nutshell. I'm going to, sorry. I am going to hand the screen sharing capabilities over to Will, and Will can, or actually before I hand Will, do you want to click through the slides, or I'm happy to click through the slides and then.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, all right, sorry. So I'm going to hand over to Will to talk a little bit about Document Crunch, and then Will will go ahead and share his screen.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about who we are at Document Crunch, what we do, and a couple of parts of our product that we're really excited about being able to bring into Procore through the Side Panel app. And then I'll give you a little demo as well of what that looks like and how you can really build it into your process. So next slide. So at Document Crunch, we're focused on simplifying contract compliance for better project outcomes. What that means is from the beginning of the life cycle of a project, when you're just in pursuit, we saw this project come up, we'd like to maybe bid on that project and hopefully win, but we do want to check over the contract, assess it for fitness. Does it really match our risk profile, or are there any gotchas that we need to know ahead of time? We can help with that. We can find all of the most important parts of the contract for any construction project and really help you identify where you need to focus your efforts, which could bring you to the negotiation table with the right information that you need to make to really set yourself up for success. And once you get to that signature, you're first focused on setting that project up for success. But then once you get to that signature, you have to make sure your team is executing that project by the book. And so you can click next. that is really where we're focused on bringing this capability and benefits to Procore where people are already working, because ultimately your project is only going to be as successful as the adherence that you have during the project and execution according to the contract, right? And so our focus is making sure your team is kicked off well, they are educated on what is required based on the agreement that was made about how the project needed to be run. And then during the project, how can we support your team so that at every moment they either have the structured guidance they need or the ad hoc support that they need to run any project activity right according to the contract. So next. The real crux of where this comes into play for document crunch overall that we're also bringing into the Procore Side Panel is our cheat sheet. The cheat sheet for your project team is effectively a breakdown of the most common items that you're going to need to understand for the rules of engagement for how you're supposed to run that project that you've agreed with the other party. And this can be from how you run change orders, how you notify people and when and why you notify, the types of delay days that you might be allotted, price escalations, and more. And so any activity that you have during the project, making sure your team is prepared and understands what the requirements are of the contract, and then being able to dive in as needed is really the crux of what that cheat sheet does. When you upload to Document Crunch, all you have to do is upload the contract, and we automatically find all that information. We use AI and a few different varieties, and we pull together all of those important items. And we give you natural language, very easy to understand summaries of what those terms are. So you can go to the next click. And so what you get is that list of issues broken down in those common forms, and then also the simple language that even somebody like myself, who is not a lawyer and certainly not a construction professional myself, but I can easily understand what the requirements are of the contract. But even if you need a little bit more information, we always show our work, because it's not the point is not to replace the need to read the contract. It's to get you the information you need at the right level and the right time. And that's really why we're matched up so well with this Procore Side Panel app, because it's the same philosophy of how information needs to be disseminated to the team. Next. For all those times that you don't necessarily even need the structured guidance, or there's something between the lines, or there's context that needs to be considered in the answer, you can now also in Document Crunch ask your contract yourself, instead of always having to go, like we were talking about, going back to the back office and going back to the legal folks on the team. Their resources are limited, obviously, and there are a lot of projects going on. There are a lot of questions and activities that come up during the job. And this, as we call it, our contract genius that's available 24/7. Our contract genius does not sleep, but I hope you get a chance to sleep, because really what this should do is keep you in your workflow on a regular basis for all of the activities you're doing. And again, that's why this connection to Procore is so important, because you're already in your workflow. Get the answers you need to your contract. Don't go back and forth over hours or days with other people in your company when you can get an answer outright from your contract. I'll show you how this works and how capable it is. But it's really important to cut down on those back and forths where you can. Again, I want to reinforce, and Scott, you also said from y'all's side as well, that doesn't mean that you remove all of those situations where you need people to really make the right decision at the right time. So there are those moments where you need to escalate, but anytime that we can handle those non-escalating issues, the better. And it just cuts down on a lot of that friction. Next. So that's really why we say we are a perfect match for projects in Procore. And I'll show you what that looks like now, and make sure that I am sharing my screen well and y'all can see it. Can you see it? Good.
Yep, we see it.
Great. So as an example, I'm in my Constancio project, and we have a change event that came along. And actually, this is a good example. If you had your first change event, what better situation than wanting to validate real quick that you have the right information and you're running it correctly. So let's take this first one, and once we get to the record, we can see, oh, it's an owner change to add an additional parking garage entrance for a couple of different reasons. Yeah, we need to get the timeline and budget to reflect this change. So let's go and see what we're actually allotted when we're going to do this estimate, because we might want to check out and make sure that we have the right markups included. So as I can see, the recommended issues I want to point out here as well. This is the first bit of context awareness here that you see. So we're context aware of what project you're in. So anybody who's working in this project goes, oh, okay, well, I just need the contract for this project. It's available. Once one person on the team sets it up, everybody sees that it's available right away. And they don't have to go and find the contract and where did you keep that? It's all connected already. And then of the issues that we show in this side panel, we, as best we can, find the recommended issues based on the tool that you're in. So as you can see, we're in change events, and change orders makes natural sense to have up at the top, as well as others like material price escalation and some about notices as well. So we can dive into change orders and immediately say, okay, I see the markup on changes looks like 10% and 5% for subcontractors doing the work. I might actually need to dive into the details here to see more information. And if I need to, I can do that. I can go directly to the page where it was found. And so again, getting you the right information in context in the side panel, plus driving you to where you need to if you need to get to the bigger detail. And then, as you can see, you can add whatever information is relevant, and then you can always see all the related provisions here. And so in a few seconds, I can get jumping over to the contract here. This is our main product here. And in a few seconds, you can get answers to your questions for especially those common issues. I guess I am also having some internet slowness. This seems to only happen. I think Zoom must be targeting my internet at certain times, only when I'm doing demos. But as you can see, all the information about who can get what level of markups is in the contract, and I can reference it really quickly. And then I can move on from there. And I didn't have to go through the entire contract. I didn't have to go to another team. I can get the information that I needed. And if I need to get any additional help, or I want to maybe do a little bit more of a general context or environment situation question, I can ask directly in chat. Like I was mentioning, it's more of an ad hoc ask and answer question space. So you could ask literally, what's the markup for change orders? Let's ask, how do I handle the change event process? And what's nice about this is I don't have to capitalize I. I also don't have to spell perfectly. I often will not spell perfectly. If you ever try to spell the word force majeure, good luck. And it will figure it out though, which is nice. Just like a human would hopefully not make fun of me and figure it out. And what you'll see here is it goes through and gives you not just that specific thing that you might have had your team or Document Crunch previously answer, but if you want a little bit more of a framework, tell me the steps to go through these things. It can really start to break that down for you, as well as, again, give you those a contract to where you need to go to find more information. My gosh, 345 pages. I would not want to go and check that out. So it's really helpful to get that overview and then dive in where you need to. And so that's really chat and the cheat sheet in a nutshell. I think it's actually already pretty well built into a nutshell here. But I also want to call out that if you go to, say, RFIs is another example of where you can use our side panel. It will also show how we are bubbling up just those right recommended issues at the right time. So now in RFIs, we're talking about completion milestones and representatives we need to contact and maybe order of precedence. So I know which part of the contract documents I should focus on first. In this case, specifications over drawings, right? And so again, it's all about context, pulling out as much of this, as many of the steps as possible, so your team gets to the information they need, which means either they will get there faster, or in some cases, people won't just skip a step because it's just so much extra work and keeps them from doing the work they're doing. It actually can help you just be more compliant. And that's ultimately our goal at Document Crunch, is to make sure that we're helping you be more compliant with your contract, which is, again, ultimately going to lead to better project outcomes and keeping all of that profitability you're hoping to get in the success of the job. That's all for me.
Awesome.
I have
Thanks.
some chats, but we can answer those whenever.
Can you guys see can everyone see my screen now?
Yep.
Sorry about that. I was putting some stuff in the chat, some of the links that I was messaging. I realized that was just going to Jeremy and Will. But yeah, I think we had some comments. Chad was saying that in-app chat is fire. Awesome. Well, now let's go over, now that you've seen Document Crunch and you've seen Jones, side panel views, let's go over a little bit about the pricing.
Yeah, so a lot of our partners, generally don't disclose pricing on the app marketplace pages here. So amongst the three of us, we were chatting, and these gentlemen felt that it would be great to provide a little bit more information about their pricing structures. Just dive a little deeper there, since we're going deep on the rest of it today. So Scott, why don't you go ahead and dive into it on the Jones side?
Yeah, thank you. So as the product marketing manager at Jones, I could definitely tell you that our pricing is based on the amount of subcontractor COIs, insurance documents, that you're tracking, and it decreases with total volume. So the more COIs you're tracking, like at scale, the less it'll be per COI. I'm not able to say an exact quote per se, but I can say just in ballpark, we have GCs paying on the low end maybe $1,000 per month, on the high end, well over $20,000 per month, right? So once again, it's all based on subcontractor COI volume. And the next slide is going to have all of our emails. If you send me over an email after this call, I would be happy to send over pricing specific for your company. We would just need to know how many COIs you're looking to track on an annual basis.
Yeah, and for Document Crunch, on the Document Crunch side for pricing, we're really focused on more of a project-based pricing. So as you can imagine, since you're in Procore and you have contracts on a project basis, we really price based on how many projects and what size those projects are. And it can be as low as under $1,000 on a project to get that support. But right now, I wanted to mention that we're offering unlimited projects for companies with up to 100 million annual construction volume. So it's a good opportunity to really be able to provide coverage across your projects. And I'm going to send this URL here, documentcrunch.com/Procore. You can sign up for more information there and a demo. We'd love to talk to you about it. And that those unlimited projects deals will be around for the next few months, I believe, or next couple of months. So, but we would love to talk to you about that soon. So let us know. And I'll also send in a little bit of information about I wanted to plug our new newsletter called, not surprisingly, Crunch Time, because it is crunch time and it's about crunch time for everybody's projects to make sure that they're complying with their contracts. And so certainly go to LinkedIn and check out that newsletter. We'd love for you to sign up as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Will. Well, this is it. We left ample time for questions, and hopefully we can give you some answers. But these are all of our emails. We have Jeremy, we have Will, we have myself. Please feel free to give us an email after this webinar is over if you want to learn more about our side panel apps, our solutions to help your companies, and or if you have just any questions. So feel free to drop. I have some of you privately messaged me questions. I see we have one question from Amy. Can all employees see the Jones side panel even if they are not an added user in the Jones app? Amy, I think I know the answer to that. And Amy, I believe you are a customer of Jones, correct? I believe I have the answer, but I'm only 99% certain. And I just want to check with my product team and get back to you. So I will make sure to send you an email later today after this webinar is over. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Amy. Yeah, I recognized your name. Yeah, I'll send you an email later today. I think I know it, but I want to be 100% certain. Lori Moser. And apologies in advance if I'm mispronouncing your first or last name. So Lori, does Jones COI allow me to set different COI requirements for different projects? What about the project specific language required on COIs? Does the software track that language is correct? Yes, it does, Lori. So you can have unlimited, you can have as many different sets of COI requirements as you would like for your different projects. We have some people where every single project, they are setting up different sets of requirements. What about the project specific language required on COIs? Are you referring to the like additional insured and the certificate holder, Lori? If I say yes. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit too much for the 10 or so minutes we have in the Q&A, but Lori, feel free to send me an email. I would love to just set up a quick time with you. I promise it won't be too salesy, but I can send you exactly how you can set up these requirements, and then how our software and how our team looks at the different project specific language required in COIs. We make sure it's correct. We actually can make sure it's correct to different magnitudes. We call it, what's the word that our auditing team uses? We call it, I forget the word they use, but like it's like how strict you want it to be. So like if the additional insured, like if the company name requires an LLC and you don't write LLC, like if like, do you want us to accept that? We call it auditing standards. There, the word came to me. So you would be able to like help set what you wanted your auditing standards to be for tracking and making sure the language is correct. So Lori, definitely give me an email so we can talk about this more. Christina Skirvkin, can the side panel be seen when using Procore on mobile? Jeremy.
No, it's not currently available within mobile apps due to the integration framework.
Javal said, great demo and impressive functionality. Will, I'm curious about the portability of the side panel feature. So I guess this question is for Will. How easily can it be integrated into other project management platforms or personal dashboards through APIs?
Yeah, so that's right now it's exclusively in Procore, and certainly if people are looking for ways that they can maybe build it into other places or in other products, we would love to talk about that to understand kind of what you have in mind. So certainly get in touch with me if you'd like to. But right now it is exclusive to Procore, and which I'm sure makes Jeremy very happy. And we're starting with them because they've been a really great partner for us. So I'm looking to find great ways to just really find any place that you're currently working that we can help do the same type of idea. Procore just happened to be able to do this better than really anyone else right now. And so that's always been our desire. We have a Word add-in as well. It's another example of a place that we're putting the benefits that we can provide and the support we can provide anywhere you are. So the more examples we can get, and the other places that are opportunities we'd be open to. Thanks for the question.
Christina, Lori, just going back on the mobile app from Christina, is Procore working on that? I really need to be able to see the insurance information in the mobile app. I can tell you, Christina, that Jones, you can use Jones on your mobile app, but I guess that the Jones Procore integration is not there. But Jones as a standalone, you could use on the mobile app. Jeremy, I guess maybe Jeremy has some type of closer seat to the decision makers, and I'll let you.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. We know that it would be valuable to have some of these integrations in the mobile app. It's definitely discussions we've had internally working with product and our ecosystem team. I don't have a timeline specifically now, but it's a known thing that we'd like to progress towards in the future as we continue to come up with enhancements like side panel. Mobile integrations will be something we're looking at as well.
Lori asked about invoicing, and we actually had in the appendix, these are all of the different areas right now in Procore where Procore allows companies like Document Crunch and Jones to embed or add our side panel capabilities. So invoicing, I'm not sure. Oh, invoicing is right over here, and there is not it is not included at this time, Lori, but I do know, I can let Jeremy speak a little bit more about this, but from my understanding, Procore wants to enable side panel apps across all of their tools, right?
Yep, exactly. So this is just about basically timelines of different teams within Procore bringing that framework into each of those tools. So that is the goal, is to get it across all tools within the platform.
So right now, if you came to Jones, for example, and you're like, we have in the directory and we have it in commitments because we identified that these are the most desired places for the Jones side panel app. But if you were to come to us and be like, hey, I really, really want the Jones side panel app and prime contracts or budget or change events or whatnot, we would be able to talk to our product team and get it there. I guess what I'll say to you, Lori, is that the moment that Procore opens up for our product team to be able to integrate into invoicing, we will work on getting it there as soon as possible. And it is coming. It's not a question of if, it's really a question of when. Someone messaged me, will this recording be available later? Yes, it will be. I'll be sending out an email later today or first thing tomorrow with this recording. And does Jones integrate with accounting software? Yes, we do. We didn't talk about it because we were just focusing about Procore, but we integrate with accounting platforms like Sage 300, Viewpoint Vista. We can get all that compliance information in your accounting software too. So drop me an email if you want to learn more about that. Does anyone have any other questions? Well, if not, you'll receive a call recording of this later today or tomorrow. And we really thank you all for coming to this webinar. This has been really great, and have a great rest of your week. Thank you, everyone.
Much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, y'all.